Hello there and welcome to Luxury. Today's video, we're taking a look at the best square watches, 20 rectangular timepieces you will surely like. There's something very appealing in being different, in veering away from the norm. It's an almost noble quest, and that's clearly noticed in the world of watches. A world so vast and so diverse, and yet so similar, so conforming to the roundness of a circle. Out of the countless designs and different ideas, there's no example more majestic of diverging from the norm than a rectangular or square watch shape. Sure, the simplicity of fitting a round movement inside a round-shaped case is a huge argument in the favour of round watches, but the uncommon square watch design has a sublime presence that keeps some watchmakers trying their best to keep it alive. Rectangular watches are both classic and modern, retro and hip, and they're something we do recommend with all our hearts. We love them, and here are some you might love as well. So let's jump right in at number 20 with a Hermès Cape Cod at a price of $3,375. The Hermès Cape Cod comes with a unique and fresh look, but unfortunately for some of us, it's only a woman's watch. The case follows the same iconic H design met on some of the brand's iconic jewellery pieces, diverging from the traditional continuity of the case into the lugs and then to the strap. The 37mm size doesn't tell us that it's a woman's watch, but more of a unisex timepiece, one that manages to use little of that space, but make the best of that little. It's a high quality build and a sophisticated and classic look that can be worn anywhere. Number 19, Baume Mercier Hampton at a price of $2,700. As with round-shaped cases, watchmakers tend to copy one another when designing rectangular-shaped cases too. But sometimes what may look as a Cartier tank wannabe is in fact something a lot more. The Hampton from Baume Mercier is one such timepiece. It's got that tank style aesthetic, but it comes with such fine details that stray away from that classic look without modifying the overall shape. The watch comes in an angular shape that gives it another dimension and sets this watch apart from everything else. Number 18, the Longines DolceVita Automatic at a price of $1,775. The Longines DolceVita comes in many variants, but we find the stainless steel automatic that sells for $1,775 to be one of the most appealing of them all. A collection crafted as a homage to the good life, it inspires through the soft lines of its design. The look is classic but adds a little sweetness to it through the blue handset or the roundness of the rectangular case, or the apparent calm of the Arabic numerals at 12, 3, 6 and 9 o'clock. Number 17, Hermès H08 at a price of $5,350. Another impressive creation from the French Hermès in the H08, which brings a fresh take on the square watch theme. The 39mm titanium watch blends the squareness of the case with the roundness of the dial, and even adds that roundness to the corners of the case, further closing the gap between the two opposites. The Hermès H08 stands out from the crowd with a few design traits that aren't so often. The hour and minute indices are drawn on the inside of the numerals instead of the traditional way, and the typography is a little more playful than usual as well. And the arrow-shaped tip of the second hand has just a splash of signature Hermès orange that fits amazingly well with the orange rubber strap. Number 16, the Bell & Ross BR05 GMT at a price of $5,500. Another French watch brand, Bell & Ross is renowned all over the world for their square-shaped watches, with the BR05 GMT being one of their finest. Aviation-inspired, combining both utility and luxury, the Bell & Ross BR05 GMT features probably the most useful complication of all for the world of flight, the GMT. The square shape of the case comes with very subtle curved corners, giving the watch a bold and sophisticated look. The screw-down crown, the sapphire crystal, and the 100-meter water resistance are all a welcome addition to the perfection of this timepiece. Number 15, the Tiffany 1837 Makers at a price of $3,500. The design of the Tiffany 1837 Makers 27mm square watch might seem a bit childish and too playful in the beginning, but at a closer look it represents the very core of the brand, Tiffany & Co., widely known all over the world for their fashion accessories and jewellery. The dial comes with an interesting pattern of increasingly larger concentric squares that start in the very centre of the face. The rest of the watch follows suit and complements the base design. The dial comes in several colorways, all of them pleasant. The price tag of $3,500 could also be pleasant as well, but that depends entirely on your budget. Number 14, Code 41 Mecascape 13800 CHF. Code 41 Mecascape is far away from how you probably define a watch. It's not even a wristwatch, but more of a pocket watch, a modern machine of tiny mechanical pieces inside with its sole purpose to measure the passing of time. And it's an astonishing one. The size of it is so close to that of a modern smartphone, but it's the shape that made us include it here. The rectangular watch, or clock if you want, is so well crafted and so good looking that it's just a marvel of craftsmanship that shouldn't be ignored. Actually, giving its over $13K price tag, most people will ignore it. Number 13, the Ralph Lauren RL867 at a price of $8,250. The Ralph Lauren RL867 brings a fresh take on the square dial design, with the most notable characteristic being the mix of Arabic and Roman numerals. The timepiece is powered by the manual wound Piaget 430P movement, a very thin mechanism that allows the case of the RL867 to come at an impressive 5.7mm thickness. It's a watch worthy of all praise and admiration. Number 12, the Hublot Square Bang Unico at a price of $23,100. Hublot has managed to create something utterly different with the Square Bang Unico. It's a premium watch with a futuristic-driven design, offering an outstanding visual show behind its glass. The case is titanium with a black ceramic bezel and rubber-covered crown and pushers for optimum grip. The strap is also crafted from rubber and features a grid pattern and a titanium deployment clasp. Inside this watch sticks an in-house Hublot Unico 2 caliber with 72 hours of power reserve and 100 meters of water resistance. Number 11, a Lange & Söhne Cabaret Tourbillon Handwerkskunst at a price of $337,000. The A. Lange & Söhne Cabaret Tourbillon Handwerkskunst is an incredibly impressive timepiece, and that's easily seen by looking at either the stunning watch itself or simply at its $337,000 price tag. Both will tell you the same thing. Part of the Cabaret collection, this watch is a marvelous tiny rectangular machine that draws inspiration from the Art Deco era. This timepiece, limited in number at only 30, comes in a platinum case with a thrilling dial showcasing the beauty of the tourbillon, and more of an eccentricity than normality, a rectangular movement. Number 10, the Vacheron Constantin American 1921 at a price of $31,500. The Vacheron Constantin American 1921 is another beautiful deviation from the typical rectangular watch, a modern reissue of a historical model from the 1920s. From the 18K pink gold case covered by sapphire crystal to the alligator leather strap, everything about this watch is up to high standards of craftsmanship. The star of the show, though, is the slanted dial, which isn't something made for fun, but a conscious and well-thought decision, making looking at the watch easier without the need to turn your hand all the way in front of your eyes. Number 9, the Hermès Car H Watch at a price of $7,025. We're coming back to the French brand Hermès for their Car H Watch, which boasts design traits borrowed from the well-known and widely spread Apple Watch. Beyond the design, Hermès keeps it all analog and mechanical in nature, with a 28 jewel movement inside and a flawlessly crafted dial for all to marvel at. Number 8, the Rado True Square at a price of $2,230. High-tech and slightly underrated, Rado is a Swiss luxury watch brand that crafts ceramic timepieces. The ceramic makes their watches incredibly scratch-resistant, super lightweight, and compatible with the biological tissue of our skin. The Rado True Square is one of their intriguing creations in a square-shaped case adorned with a lovely green sunburst dial and an elegant simplicity. The watch is reasonably priced as well, selling for only about $2,230. Reasonable at least when you compare it with the other entries of this list. Number 7, the Glashütte Original 70s Chronograph Panorama Date at a price of $13,069. The Glashütte Original 70s Chronograph Panorama Date comes as a real stunner. It's impressive how the chronograph idea often involves the roundness of the dial. We think that this is perhaps tied to the analog gauges from racing cars, which makes us think of circles. What this watch does is impressive. It takes that idea of roundness, the chronograph with its smaller round subdials, and places it inside a square case. The result is a nice contrast of shapes and ideas that play in our head. The watch features several complications, a 12-hour chronograph represented through 2 subdials at 9 and 3 o'clock, and an hour counter at 12, plus a large panorama date window at 6 o'clock that completes the 4 cardinal points of the dial. Number 6, Bell & Ross BR03 at a price of $3,800. Probably the classiest option when it comes to the French Bell & Ross watches is their popular BR03 watch. It comes in a 42mm square case, powered by an ETA 2892 automatic movement with a design inspired from the cockpit instruments of an aircraft. It's a superb watch in a comfortable size with a beautiful simplicity to it. The dial is basic and legible, but somehow unbelievably appealing. Number 5, the Nomos Tetra Neomatic at a price of $3,860. The Nomos Tetra Neomatic is a charming watch with a perfectly square case that leaves no room to interpretation. There's nothing vague about the squareness of the case, and this is an important design decision from Nomos. On top of that, one can clearly observe the inspiration that comes from Bauhaus principles. The face of the Tetra Neomatic is simple, minimalistic, yet not at all boring. Somehow few watchmakers succeed in doing. The case is also very thin, measuring only 7.3mm, which makes the watch wear comfortably on the wrist. Part of the character of the Tetra Neomatic also comes from the various colours and straps available, which makes it even more interesting and diverse. Number 4, the Oris Rectangular at a price of $2,050. Oris isn't a watchmaker that stays behind when others deviate from the traditional should be. Inspired by Art Deco, they also designed their own version of a rectangular watch and named this entire collection Oris Rectangular. Vivid dials and classic aesthetics are the main traits of this watch collection, and it comes in only 4 variants, each of them very distinct in appearance from the other. We salute this attitude from Oris of presenting us with a limited number of options so as not to overwhelm us, but putting their best effort in making these 4 variants as unique and distinct as possible without changing too much. Number 3, Jaeger LeCoultre Reverso Classic at a price of $10,300. The Jaeger LeCoultre Reverso Classic is a majestic timepiece. Its design also has Art Deco roots, but it also comes with a quirk not many know of today. The watch was designed for polo players, which is why it has a rotating case, to protect the watch's space from damage during polo games. Chic and sporty, the Reverso Classic seems as fresh today as it was back in the 1930s when it came out. Number 2, the Heuer Monaco at a price of $7,800. Part movie star, part history, the Heuer Monaco is a staple among square watches. Another rare chronograph in a square case, this is a watch to be cherished. The Heuer Caliber 12 is a COSC certified chronometer, which only adds to the overall appeal of the timepiece, making it not only a sight to behold but a very functional one as well. No matter what colorway variant you choose, the case is 39mm by 39mm, which makes it very comfortable on the wrist. And at number 1, we have Cartier Santos de Cartier at a price of $8,500. With a history so long, starting in 1904 with Brazilian aviator Alberto Santos Dumont, for which this watch was first created, the Cartier Santos de Cartier is the quintessential square watch. It's true that the tank is the rectangular watch that most people would recognize as the icon, but Santos de Cartier goes beyond the simple design of the tank, which is why we picked it over the other one. Part of its charm comes from little design traits such as the signature rivets in the bezel or the screw fastener crown. This watch also comes in so many variations from materials to design and finish that most people could easily find one that fits them most. We agree there are several icons in the world of square or rectangular watches, but that's only part of the story. There are plenty more watchmakers that have taken the courage to explore this niche, and they do it successfully. Therefore, we encourage you to start with the icons, but have to keep the curiosity to explore the different ones as well. You might be pleasantly surprised by what you'll find.